So watch the story first, and then I'll talk about it. Harold, 94, is slowly losing time.
I'm sorry, how's my memory?
Yeah.
So-so.
Moments he's cherished, days with family and friends,
Well, I'm 47.
years vanish
I'm 47 plus, a little.
because of Alzheimer's disease. But one thing he hasn't lost, autumn leaves. Memories disappear, but music remains.
That area just seems to be preserved, even in patients with relatively severe memory loss.
Radiologist Jeffrey Anderson and other Utah researchers peered into the brains of Alzheimer's patients while they listened to music. And this portion, part of the cerebral cortex, lit up.
So it's like a back door. It's a window into the brain of patients with dementia that can evoke attention and marshal resources from across the brain.
And not just any music, but music with meaning.
You're waking your evidence daily.
Soon after he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Jim Barton got an iPod
Ticket to ride.
filled with the soundtrack of his youth.
She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care. And just putting on headphones and doing it again, whew, here it came back. High school, Beach Boys. My life that it was part of me that I knew and had, didn't disappear. It calms me down. Kind of gets rid of some of the anxiety you get in your life. Music does anyway. Something's wrong.
It just settles him down.
Oh, yesterday.
It did good for him, but it did, I would say, better for me because it gave me what I needed because I didn't know what to do.
You know, I don't know how to explain it other than it just takes away the anxiety of and the realization that you're going to die from this.
For Harold, this music is still tied to a childhood
I remember Eddie Cantor used to be on.
listening to the
I
radio.
used to get right under the speaker.
World War II.
I get a mix of fighting, marching, of being lucky to be alive, too. That was when I waking up in the Army.
But it's more than a connection to memories. It's a connection to his accompanist, his son. Harold Rosen is my dad. I played for my father once a year and a half ago, and a guy who most of his life never really sang started singing. And now it's a regular gig.
We lose the ability to communicate with them as meaningfully as we would like to.
But it's something we can do together.
Yeah.
We can have a conversation with music.
If you say so, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Sometimes small gains in patients that are very impaired are really meaningful.
You can't stay the same way as you grow older. Things happen. If you want to lie here and cry, you cry. If you want to lie here and laugh, you laugh.
So these days, do you laugh or do you cry?
Mostly laugh. I stopped crying a long time ago.
I can't really talk to my dad like I used to, but we can have a conversation, make a connection with a song. Peter Rosen, KSL 5 News. This didn't start out as a story. It started out as kind of a, I should just shoot this just to have it kind of thing. My dad has Alzheimer's, and a while ago I played piano for him, and he started singing, sort of scat singing, and it was just something he really liked to do, and so he kept on doing it. And then I thought, well, maybe I should get it on tape. And then I did a little research about music and Alzheimer's, and then it turned into a story. Shooting my dad. This was kind of tricky because one, I was shooting myself. I was playing and shooting. And two, I had to look after my 94-year-old father. So I shot us playing and singing. I shot this maybe 3 or 4 times. I think at least once we had to abort due to medical issues. Each time I rolled 2 or 3 cameras, a regular camera and then 1 or 2 GoPros. Sometimes I had an audio recorder. Multiple shoots complicated editing. For instance, my dad didn't always wear the same outfit. And at first, I just used available light for simplicity and safety, and then later, in later shoots, I threw up a light. So things didn't always match. I wasn't sure what sound bites I'd get from my dad, but I wanted to get something, especially to show his distorted sense of time. And he surprised me with this.
If you want to lie here and cry, you cry. If you want to lie here and laugh, you laugh.
Do you laugh or do you cry?
Cry? Both. No, mostly laugh. I stopped crying a long time ago.
Is slowly losing time. The clock sequence showed up in the piece because while I was shooting cuts, I heard this ticking, realized it was the clock and shot the clock, and then shot the net sound of the clock separately. And then I started thinking about time and how my dad was losing time. And I thought that might be a way to get into the story. Years vanish.
I'm 47 plus, a little.
Because of Alzheimer's disease. So once I realized I had a story, I made an outline. 1, Harold sings. 2, research shows music helps. 3, the music has to be meaningful. 4, reveal that Harold's my dad. And the music helps both of us. So I interviewed the researchers, and then I wanted more than just my dad. And so I made some calls, and I found Jim and Becky Barton, who really were a gift. In the story, Jim introduces the idea of meaningful music. Jim liked to do puzzles while he was listening to his iPod, and so I put a mic on him and set up a fill light. There was this ugly overhead light, so I set up a fill light, and then I let him do his thing. Since obviously I couldn't hear his music, I asked him at the start of each song to tell me what song he was listening to. The singing, he just started doing on his own. I knew I needed some shots of the pianist, both shots that didn't show his face and shots that didn't, so of course I got those. One thing I thought about, of course, was whether or not I should put my dad on TV in the first place. And I thought the question was this: would he have consented when his brain was healthy? And in my mind, there was no question that he would have, so I did the story.